And this one I was really excited to go to because I knew there were going to be like really successful business owners, really cool connections. It was in a $20 million mansion in Bel Air, so very exclusive. And it kicked off with Jay Shetty as the speaker, which was really cool because we got to have a behind the scenes look at his business, which he doesn't talk about a lot. His biggest tip and takeaway is that
welcome to Life Changing Money, a podcast all about one of the most taboo topics in the world, money. I'm your host, Barbara Strehand, and we're going behind the scenes on business owners' journeys to money, success, and wealth. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Life Changing Money. Today is a solo episode, and I want to talk all about a bunch of retreats that I just got back from attending. So my family and I did a month in Europe over the summer, and we went to Sardinia and Corsica and a few places in Greece. And I also got to attend a retreat in Greece. And then straight from there, I attended a retreat in LA and a retreat in like the San Jose, Santa Cruz area. And also after that, I went to Aspen. Oh my gosh, and Chicago. Okay, I have a lot of retreats to talk about. So maybe I'll just talk about the first couple, but we'll see how the episode goes. One of my favorite things to do is attend retreats, obviously, because I just named like 5 that I just attended in the last like 6 weeks. But I love retreats over like huge conferences, at least attending them, because as an introvert, like retreats are typically like 20 to 30 people, at least they should be. Sometimes they can be less, but they shouldn't be more than that amount of people to call it a retreat, because the whole like meaning of retreat is to like go somewhere, it's more secluded, more intimate, exclusive. And that's exactly why I like them rather than like the hundreds and hundreds of people at a conference, because one, I'm an introvert, so it's super draining on my energy. 2, I'm a projector, so I don't have a ton of energy when I am expending it. But I also just love retreats because that's really where you can get to know a small group of people, a small group of business owners, and you get really high level coaching because there is the time and space to do that rather than when there's hundreds of people at a big event. Now, I say all that and I host a huge event. And I love that event, Minted Wealth Live, and we host it once a year, and everyone loves attending it, and they get so much out of it, all about building wealth. And I also love retreats. So a lot of people that attend Minted Wealth Live, they also choose to attend the retreats that we host and or join the Council Mastermind, which comes with a few retreats as part of your Council Mastermind year-long program. And so just a few of like the takeaways. One, I wanted to go on a retreat in Greece because I wanted to host one in Greece for my Council Mastermind members. So I always try to do some research and development, market research before hosting it in a certain city. I think that's really important. A lot of people just throw events together and throw retreats together, and they've never been to the city. They've never been to the venue that they've hosted it at. And so they just like don't know the logistics well enough to curate a really nice, luxurious, intimate few days for their attendees. And so it's important to me to go there. So I was attending just to get like R&D about hosting a Greece retreat. To me, it was less like, I don't really care about what the topics were about, even what we were like really doing those few days. It was just, I need to get to Greece beforehand and see what restaurants I want to have people eat at and what activities we're going to do and excursions we're going to go on and what hotel, especially the venue, is very important. So I would not use the venue that this person picked only because it just felt like a very cheap hotel. And it was nowhere near a beach. And I feel like if you're in Greece, like you either want the view of the beach or you want to be on the beach. And so I picked a different location, but it was still good to see how the retreat was put together in an international location. And so for sure, when we're in Greece, I found some of the restaurants that we'll be eating at, some of like the yacht company that I want to use for a sunset cruise, and just some of the like cultural experiences that I want to add in to that retreat. But that retreat specifically was cool because there were a lot of international attendees. So typically when I'm attending retreats, it's like US based, US business owners, because as the owner of Your Tax Coach, like we can help US businesses. So I also attend retreats because that's where we get a lot of our tax clients, because it's like, well, if they're willing to spend high ticket on a retreat, then obviously they need tax strategy as well. But this one, it was like mostly foreigners, mostly non-US based business owners. And so I wasn't going there like to get any clients. It was really just to like connect with the few women that were there. And it was only like 8 people that were not like part of the team. So it was a really small retreat. We got to spend a few days together. We did some great yoga sessions and meditations. It was very much a mindset retreat. And like, what do you need to change in your mindset in order to get to that next level of business? And the person hosting the event is also like one of my good friends, and I call her my fizz friend. And so we got to enjoy a lot of really good sparkling wine in Greece. We did some really great wine tasting, which we will also have at our retreat in 2026 in Greece with our Council Mastermind members. You can only go to that retreat if you're in the Council Mastermind. So that one's going to be really special. It'll be our second international retreat. We did one in Mexico. It almost doesn't feel like we have done an international one because it wasn't like in Europe. This is our first. We're going European. And then after that retreat, went to one in Los Angeles. And this one I was really excited to go to because I knew there were going to be like really successful business owners, really cool connections. It was in a $20 million mansion in Bel Air, so very exclusive. And it kicked off with Jay Shetty as the speaker, which was really cool because we got to have a behind the scenes look at his business, which he doesn't talk about a lot, right? Like you see Jay Shetty talk a lot about relationships and money and being a monk and like not speaking for years. And so it was cool to see his strategies on how he grows on social media, because he has, I think, like 20 million followers on Instagram, millions of followers on TikTok, millions of followers on Facebook, millions of followers on YouTube, and how his strategy with his team is every single month, quarter, and year. And his biggest tip and takeaway is that if you want to go viral or if you want more followers, you have to study the patterns. And he's like, I've probably studied the pattern of human behavior on social media more than anyone else on the platform, which is just a good reminder of like, we all need to be constantly learning and pouring back into our own business if we want to keep growing and expanding. So that was really fun to have that like small, intimate conversation with him about a behind the scenes look in his business. That retreat was interesting because it like ran out of food. And so that's always something to watch out for when you are hosting retreats, is like, make sure your attendees have enough food, because if someone had a bad food experience, that's like the first thing they're going to talk about. I don't know why. Everyone loves their food. So just make sure that there's enough food and snacks. And if you are having a chef, like make sure they make enough food for everyone. But the learning at that retreat was one of the best ones I have had in a very long time. It was very much about funnels, about where you could be leaking in your funnel so that the next step of your client journey is missed if one thing in the funnel isn't working properly. There was a lot about social media strategy as well, and just like the future of how clients are buying online. And so that was really great. Really think about like the future of how people purchase. And then we also got to talk to a lot of the business owners that just sell in different ways, which I always think is so interesting. Like the people that are selling high ticket without sales calls, and the people that are selling high ticket with just a video on their website, or the high ticket that are doing a sales call to a funnel to a schedule another call to a this, like a lot of steps. And then the people that have high ticket but no low ticket, or only do low ticket and don't have high ticket. The people that have masterminds but they don't do in person. And so it's just so good to always see how other people are conducting their business and what's working and what's not for them. I also had some great conversations with like a LinkedIn expert, and also the retreat in Greece was very much about LinkedIn as well. And so I'm like, okay, I heard LinkedIn twice at these 2 retreats. Like I should probably start thinking about LinkedIn more, because to me, I'm like, LinkedIn is so boring. It's for like the boring accountants, and I'm not a boring accountant. So that was kind of how I felt about it. But now you'll start seeing our stuff on LinkedIn. I hired a LinkedIn expert, and they'll be posting on our LinkedIn for us. And we'll like slowly build out the LinkedIn funnel with that. But just as like a reminder for anyone listening, like when you are diving into a new social media platform, make sure that you have like the other stuff dialed in. I think too many people try to go on all the platforms all at one time, and they all fail because you haven't mastered any of them. It's like the master of none. And so get really good, really consistent on one platform before you start expanding into other platforms. And then after that LA retreat, I got to fly up to one of my clients, actually 2 of my clients, they co-hosted it. They're both our clients. They co-hosted a like girls camp retreat. So it was all adult business owners, women. And they're like, we just want to have like a camp where it's like where we would go if we were like in middle school or high school. And so it was very much like in the woods, in the mountains. There was no cell service. And we like had campfires and very much like camping food. And we had the best yoga instructor who like, also she lied to us. She's like, we're going to do Pilates. And I was like, this shit is like HIIT class. And my booty was burning. And then the next day she's like, yeah, we're going to do yoga. I was like, this is so hard, but also it was really good. So we got to do yoga and Pilates-ish both of the days. They had a medium there, which was so fun. I had never had like a reading from a medium, and she did like all 30 people, and she was so spot on. If you're looking for a medium, it was Spirit Tiff on Instagram, and she was so great. And she just hung out with us the whole weekend. And so you can expect her at one of our retreats next year, because I just thought it was like so healing. Like some of the stuff was really hard to hear, like coming through from some of the people's like relatives and stuff. And like some were really sad situations, and some were happy situations, and some were bad situations, but mostly like really great and healing. And so she'll be at one of our retreats next year. And then I got to speak at that one. So they were both our clients and friends, and I speak at a lot of their retreats. And so I got to speak all about how to save money in taxes for them, and also about how to invest in real estate. And then Whitney was also there, who's our CMO, and she got to do like hot seat coaching with how to do better marketing in your business. And what else did we do? I don't know. We hung out. We just got to talk and chat. We had IVs. Shout out to Atusa, who gave us all IVs, and she got me on the first stick, which is very rare. A lot of times I have to get poked like a bajillion times. Actually, I just did blood work, and the girl poked me 4 times, and she was like mad at me. I'm like, bro, you're the one sticking it in my arm and it's hurting. So we got to have IVs. We also got to try these medicine patches, like supplements, like wellness patches, who is also going to be providing swag in our swag bags at Minted. So that was really cool to try those. And so just like all different vibes from all the retreats. Like one was very much mindset. One was very much strategy and funnels. One was very much just like relaxing and connecting and being in nature and just like figuring out what the heck we're doing in all of our businesses. And that just shows you like why you have to attend retreats, because each one is going to be so different. You're going to have different takeaways from each one. You're going to meet different people. They're all going to have a different vibe. And much like attending events and conferences, those are your people. Like, you already have so much in common with them. And to have like business besties can really accelerate you in your business. And so if you are wanting to find a place where you know the retreats are going to be luxurious, they're going to be curated, very experiential, very high level, like you will be learning a ton and about so many different topics. In 2026, I have 4 co-coaches that are going to be coaching with me inside of my mastermind called the Council. And we will be talking about all things money, mindset, messaging, marketing, and marriage, or just relationships in general. You do not have to be married, but it could be a relationship with a family member, with your kiddos, with a friend, with a business partner, just relationships in general. And we're going to be hosting 3 retreats inside of the Council. I think the locations, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure the locations are going to be in Scottsdale, in Newport Beach, California, and in Greece. But we still have to lock in the venues. So if the location changes, don't kill me. But that's what I'm thinking for 2026. And you get to attend 2 of those 3 retreats that are included in the Council Mastermind. And so I hope that I get to see you at one of our retreats next year. You can comment Council anywhere on our social media. So you can go to your tax coach, comment Council, or you can go on the Barbara Streehands Instagram page, comment Council, or it'll be in the show notes below. But I hope that you invest in yourself, invest in your business, and go on some retreats.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Life Changing Money. Don't forget to subscribe, and I would love if you left a review and shared it with your friends. See you next time.